Module 5 ISO IEC 17020 Structural Requirements. This section is divided to two parts. The first with the administration of the organisation, the second about organisation and responsibilities. Clause 5.1 Administrative Requirements requires that the inspection body be a legal entity, such as a limited company, charity or government organisation or part of one. This is to ensure that the organisation has some standing in law and is accountable for its actions. If the inspection body is part of a larger organisation, it must be able to identify where that body sits within the overall business. This is normally shown in the form of an organogram. The inspection body also has to carry an adequate level of indemnity insurance or reserves, possibly in cash, to cover claims or liabilities that it could possibly incur, and this needs to be periodically reviewed to ensure that this provision remains adequate in the light of the organisation's operation and external environment. This section also requires that the inspection body has documentation which describes the activities for which it is competent, meaning that it has to document the scope of inspection work, services, techniques or items that it inspects, as well as maintaining defined contract conditions for the work that it conducts for external parties, i.e. the client or customer. This would normally form the scope or schedule of accreditation should the inspection body be externally accredited. Some examples are given here, but you can see on the left hand side we have some examples of field inspection, in this case asbestos, forensics, non-destructive testing, EMC or electromagnetic compatibility. These are general fields. The second column contains the type and range of inspection performed, which could be type of survey for asbestos, crime types or scene types that could be investigated for forensics, non-destructive techniques such as magnetic particle or dye penetrant, or perhaps regulations from the EU in the example given here. And on the right hand side, the actual techniques that are used, standards and specifications. These would form typical scopes so that when the organisation is accredited, these would be normally published.
Clause 5.2 covers organisation and management. Again, this section covers the topic of impartiality that we mentioned in the previous module. It states that the organisation should be structured and managed so as to safeguard impartiality. An example of this will be an organisation which produces and inspects its own products. In such a case, it would be usual to separate both of these sections organisationally to reduce risk due to impartiality. In fact, this is required for Type B organisations. The inspection body is required to maintain the capability to perform inspection activities, for example by ensuring proper resourcing in terms of personnel, systems and equipment, and ensuring that this capability is maintained over time, particularly where inspection activities are infrequently performed, and to keep up to date with technical and legislative requirements over time. The organisation is required to define and document the organisational structure of the inspection body and its relation to any parent organisation constituting the legal entity, or with any other support functions that it utilises. This would normally take the form of an organisation chart or organogram. Responsibilities of personnel are also required to be defined in a job description or equivalent document. There is a requirement that the organisation nominates personnel in the role of a technical manager or managers who are responsible for ensuring that the inspection activities are properly performed, acting as it were as a technical mentor. In organisations who perform several different types of inspection activities, there may be more than one such technical manager. Deputies are required to be nominated in the case of their absence.
That concludes this section. We now have a short quiz to test your understanding of Module 5.